Welcome to Creating a Peaceful Place, a Mind and Body Pilates approach. Today we are leading you through a Pilates class that will aid you in practicing mindfulness, activating bilateral stimulation through tapping, and strengthening your imagination to create a peaceful place. As with any of our classes, consult with your primary care doctor to ensure you are ready to begin a Pilates class. Start with noticing your 5 senses as you practice your deep belly breaths. If at any point feelings become negative during the class, return to this deep belly breathing. Noticing, what do you see? What do you taste? What do you hear? What do you smell? And what do you feel? Taking one last deep cleansing breath in through your nose, hold your breath at the top, and slowly exhaling out through your mouth. When ready, follow Kim for your first roll down.
In our roll down position, I'll have you start standing tall with your hips and feet separated hip-width distance apart. Your shoulders are going to stack directly over your pelvis, and your pelvis is going to stack over your knees and your ankles. I want you to inhale, and then you'll exhale out the mouth, and then slowly round those shoulders and sink down towards the floor, letting your weight shift back over your hips and over your heels.
Notice what you feel in your body as you roll down. What type of breath do you need at this time? What would it be like to let your body hang heavy and swing your arms from side to side? Throughout this class, be patient with yourself and listen to what your body is needing. If you need to stop and rest at any point, please do so. The notion of an unwavering mind is a fantasy. You have to practice. You cannot just decide to have unfettered attention. Today we are going to practice, recognizing your bravery to practice as you roll on up and go into standing squats.
To prepare for standing squats, you'll separate your feet wider than hip-width distance apart with a turnout from both hips, so your knees and your ankles will track outward towards the corners of the room. You'll keep the shoulders stacked right over the pelvis and your belly button pulled in towards the spine. You'll let the pelvis sink down slowly towards the floor, bending into both knees, pausing for a second, and then lengthening the legs, growing tall through the spine. We'll repeat, letting the pelvis sink down towards the floor. I want you to go heavy into your heels. Keep the pads of your feet light. And continue. You'll lengthen both legs up.
Peace is within us, not something we need to find. It is within us this very moment. Allow yourself to embrace it. What color is peace? What shape? What texture? Moving into isometric squat with spine twist.
We'll keep both knees bent for our squat, keeping the core strong. I'm going to move my hands into heart center to form a prayer position. The pelvis will stay still and will begin to twist the spine. Use your exhale to turn towards your right elbow, right shoulder, and then back through center to switch. I want you to energize your obliques each time you turn, using that exhale to warm the belly. You're visualizing spiraling the spine, twisting the spine, bringing out the spine while keeping that pelvis nice and still.
The time necessary to reach relaxation depends on how you feel in the moment. Going into our stomach breathing will help reach that moment when we choose. When we utilize this breath, it activates our parasympathetic nervous system and restores the body to a calm and composed state. When ready, begin neck pull or chest lift.
To prepare for neck pull or your chest lift movement, I'll have you lay down on your back. I'm going to keep my knees bent up towards the sky or the ceiling, and my spine is going to imprint here. My low back will stay flat against the mat. I'll bend my elbows nice and wide and canopy my head with both hands. Keep the hands light beneath the head, the elbows and the chest wide apart. You'll use your exhale and your belly to lift the head, neck, and shoulders away from the floor. Breathing in towards the pelvis, and then using that inhale through the nose to lower the head, neck, and shoulders back down. Keep the pelvis still. Focus on exhale, breathing out through the mouth, lifting up through the middle of your back, using your abdominals to lift you, pausing at the top, and then slowly melting back into the floor.
What is the rhythm of your breathing? How does the breath change as you move into chest lift or neck pull? Do you find yourself holding your breath or tension in a specific spot in your body? Accommodate and make changes so that your style of breath is your choosing, not being chosen for you. As you roll up from supine to spine twist.
So to prepare for roll up, I'm going to have you lengthen both legs out, point your toes, stretch the front of your ankles. The arms are going to lengthen over your chest, and you'll use your exhale to peel, lift the head, neck, and shoulders off of the mat. Roll up to your seated position. My arms are going to stay long here. My shoulders stay stacked right over my pelvis. Legs and pelvis will stay stable as I begin to twist, spiral my spine to the right and to the left.
Your peaceful place could be real or imaginary. Let the image of the place come to you. Is this place one you visit often, or is it from the past? Are you there alone or with others? Imagine the texture of your surroundings, the sounds, the smell, the weather. If your mind begins to wander, acknowledge this natural trait and invite your mind back to this moment. Getting ready for bridge as we create an inviting bridge to this peaceful place.
For bridge, we will melt back down into the floor. Our shoulders, our spine, our tailbone will all lengthen across the mat. Your knees are going to bend up towards the ceiling or the sky, and your heels are slightly away from your bottom. Arms will stay strong and long outside your hips. Now I want you to exhale, hinge up into your bridge, opening up the chest and engaging the back side of your hips. You'll slowly lower the pelvis down, tapping the tailbone against the mat and reversing your movement. Visualize pulling your belly button in towards your spine the entire time.
What qualities are needed to aid you in creating this peaceful place? Bring this image of this quality you have chosen to mind in more detail. Is this a new quality or a familiar one? Focus on this quality and the positive feelings and begin to tap. Stop tapping when this quality has been strengthened. When ready, you will move into side plank with thread the needle.
Side plank will start on our right hip and our right shoulder. I'll be doing my side plank with both my knees bent, but if you choose to progress the movement, you can lengthen both legs and keep the ankles stacked one on top of the other. If you're bending your knees like me, you're going to bend the knees slightly in front of your hips. I want you to anchor your right elbow down and lift the right side of your pelvis away, cinching the right side waist to engage your obliques and your lateral chain, all on that right side. Keep the chest open, the left shoulder stacked over the right shoulder, and the left hip stacked over the right hip. Inhale, exhale.
After finding this place, enhance it. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you smell? What do you feel? What is the temperature? Who is guarding this peaceful place? When ready, begin sideline leg work with lateral flexion.
Make sure the right hip is anchored once again. You'll stay lifted upon your right elbow, your right shoulder. The top leg is going to extend. You'll flex your foot, creasing the front side of your left ankle. Keep that top leg parallel and begin to lift, engaging your abductor, that abductor muscle, and then slowly lowering the leg back down so it's straight forward of the hip. Lift and lower, keeping the rest of your body still, isolating the movement to the left hip and that left leg moving within the hip joint.
Allowing yourself to be in silence. Where does your mind begin to wander in this moment? Is it going where you want it to go, or would you like your thoughts to move in a different direction? Moving on to the other side for side plank with thread the needle.
So we'll turn onto the left elbow, left hip. If you modified and bent both knees, you're going to continue to do so on the other side. Mimic the progression if you chose to lengthen out both legs. You'll anchor the left elbow down and then carefully lift your left hip away, peeling that hip away from the floor, feeling strength in the left side of your body. That top arm is going to lengthen straight up. You're going to keep the hips still and begin to thread the needle, twisting underneath your waistline, and then using your inhale to lengthen back up. That exhale, pelvis stays still. You'll rotate, twist, spiral the spine, gazing across that left shoulder as you turn, and then lengthening the right arm back up.
Imagine a time when you felt in balance, alive and whole. What was that time like for you? How did you feel at that time? It can be a time when you were quiet and still, or a time when you were doing what you wanted to do and felt peaceful. Spend some time filling in the sensory details to help enhance the scene. Moving into sideline leg work with lateral flexion.
Just as we did on the other side, you're going to lower the left hip down. You'll begin to straighten the top leg, flexing your foot back to keep the knee and the ankle protected. Begin to lift and lower that top leg. Knees and toes face forward, away from your body. Shoulders, pelvis stay still. And once again, you're limiting that movement, isolating it to your top hip.
What made that time so balanced for you? Does balance need to mean 50-50, or is balance a feeling you experience? Can you bring any of that balance to your peaceful place? Now we're going to go ahead and get a water break, and when you are ready, join us for part 2 of creating a peaceful place.